Well, take a listen to this for all of us drivers out there. There's statistics that have just come out. You are more likely to be hijacked on a Tuesday or a Thursday between 4 and 8 p.m. That's more than any other time. Now you know. And that's all according to Tracker's latest research, looking at data for the past 6 months. It's fascinating, isn't it? Let's get more from Tracker COO, Chief Operating Officer Duma Ngcobo. Duma, good to have you with us. And this really is incredible research you've done. Tell me about how you were able to get this done and what else the data has shown us.
Thank you very much, Gareth, and thank you for the opportunity. So obviously the data that we've published is largely reflective of Tracker's car park and not necessarily representative of the entire country per se. What we've been able to deduce is obviously looking at the various crime trends. We monitor quite closely when incidents of vehicle theft or vehicle hijacking will obviously occur. And we track quite closely the various dates of incidents that these events, these unfortunate events, tend to occur.
And when you start looking at all the numbers that you're getting, and you're quite right, Duma, of course, you're just looking at, you call it the Tracker car park. By that, I imagine you mean Tracker clients. I imagine that's what you're talking about here as well. But it's a good litmus test for how these sort of syndicates are operating. So what can you tell us about the areas, perhaps? Are you able to elaborate on the areas that are hotspots according to the Tracker car park? Duma, you still with me? I'm not sure if you heard the question.
Gareth.
If you did, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, I heard the question. So obviously, the larger metropolises tend to be where incidents of hijacking occur. So you're looking at your larger provinces like Gauteng, Western Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal, specifically cities like Durban, cities like Cape Town, Pretoria, Johannesburg, and so on. And that tends to be where the economic activities tend to be. And so largely where we see incidents of crime is where we see these incidents as well. And you're quite right. I mean, we do have quite a significant representation of customers. So you can largely say it is quite a litmus test for what may be going on in the country insofar as vehicle crime is concerned. What we tend to see is that hijackings are obviously opportunistic crimes. As vehicle technology improves. It's far more difficult to take a stationary vehicle than it is to take a moving one. And so criminals tend to use those opportunities as well.
Duma, I understand obviously we can't talk too much as far as car brands are concerned, because if I mention a brand or you mention a brand, I'm going to get emails from car brands yelling at me for being unfair. But perhaps we can talk types of vehicles, SUV, sedan, Bucky, I drive a double cab. Are you able to tell us, are there certain types of vehicles that are more prone to hijacking?
Quite correct. Obviously, the vehicles brands tend to change from time to time, particularly because we're dealing with, in some instances, quite sophisticated syndicates that hijacked or steal vehicles according to order. But what we tend to see is that your more affluent vehicles, such as SUVs, you mentioned you drive a Bucky, those tend to be the most sought after vehicles as well. But it's important to note as a customer that this could happen to anyone at any given time.
Just before I say goodbye to you, last question. Some advice you can give to those who are driving high-risk vehicles. We know common sense is the way to go, but I think when people are driving, they sometimes forget about common sense. We're on Bluetooth phone calls. I've seen some people driving with headphones on in the car, and these are state-of-the-art vehicles. I'm sure they have Bluetooth. Just some tips for us before I say goodbye to you.
Yeah, obviously vigilance, Gareth, we're calling it common sense, but I'd rather use the word vigilance. In other words, be aware of your surroundings. If you're driving home late or from the office late, try and share your journey with your loved ones so that they can help you monitor your movements. Obviously, the closer you are to home, those tend to be areas where hijackings can occur, where they block you in. So it's important to just be aware of your surroundings, let your loved ones know, and to the extent that you can, try and use technology. There's a myriad of other technology tools that one can use. If one just goes onto Tracker's website, you can find a whole host of these tool sets that we have available for customers and the public.
Well, I really appreciate your time. It's such incredible research that was done by Tracker. I appreciate your time, Duma Ngcobo, Tracker COO. Let me just repeat that as well for anyone to be extra vigilant, if you will. According to Tracker's latest research, you are more likely to be hijacked on a Tuesday or a Thursday between 4 and 8 p.m.